The Lightfall expansion has added a bunch of new features to the game, obviously one of those things being the new Strand Subclass, and with every season and every expansion we always get new exotics, and Bungie actually added an exotic for each character class that actually pairs really well with the Strand Subclass. In today's video I'm going to go over the Warlock exotic, the Swarmers. Now before we dive into it, how do we obtain this exotic? So the first way is completing the Lightfall campaign on Legendary, and then when you get to the end and you beat the whole thing, you have the option of choosing between two exotics. For the Warlock specifically, you have gauntlets and the boots, and obviously the Swarmers are the boots option. Now if you didn't pick up the Swarmers and opted for the gauntlets, the only other way to do it is to find the Legend Lost sector of the day, and if you look at the bottom, it says if solo exotic blank armor is a reward, which is a rare reward. So again, you're going to wait for the lost sector to reward exotic leg armor, and then you potentially have to farm it. It could take 1 try, it could take 10 tries, it could take even more tries. So just keep that in mind. Now let's go over its perk. Destroying a tangle spawns a Threadling. Your Threadlings unravel targets that they damage. If you didn't catch any of that and you don't understand the lingo, I'm going to explain it. So the Strand subclass has added a bunch of buffs and debuffs with the class. So the first thing it mentioned was a tangle. So a tangle is a knot of strand matter swirling with potential. Tangles can be shot and destroyed or picked up and thrown, dealing damage. Defeating targets afflicted by any strand debuff will unwind them and create a tangle. The second thing I mentioned was a Threadling. So that is a creature woven from pure strand matter and seeks nearby targets and attacks, dealing damage. So pretty much the little buddy goes attacks targets. Now the last thing I mentioned was Unravel. This is actually a debuff. So the target is permeated with destructive strand matter, and as they take additional damage, they create unravel projectiles that seek out nearby targets. Additionally, unraveling rounds from your strand weapons can pierce shields of anti-barrier champions and stun them. That's a whole different thing. But unraveled targets unwind into a tangle when defeated. Essentially, this adds 2 additional things versus having the base strand subclass. So the first thing that I want to talk about is your Threadlings unravel targets that they damage. Pretty much, base Threadlings, you know, they're already pretty strong, but having the Threadlings also be able to unravel targets allows you to create a tangle without having to apply any other type of debuff from either your melee or anything else. So pretty much all the Threadlings have the additional unravel on top of them, which is freaking insane. And then destroying a tangle spawns a Threadling. So every time you destroy a tangle, whether you shoot it or pick it up and throw it at a target, it will spawn a Threadling. And on the Warlock, obviously the Threadlings are the main thing here. Now if you did want to build with this exotic, I've already created 2 here on the channel. I'll link that video in the description, but it is absolutely broken. You can either have an army of Threadlings or pretty much be able to add a ton of debuffs with the grapple and the grapple melee. Alright, let's talk about PvE. How does it perform? Is this a good exotic? In my opinion, absolutely. This is the best exotic you could use with the Strand subclass when it comes to PvE content. Now, I've been doing a little bit of testing with Felmazer's Lie and Necrotic Grips, and in my opinion, this just makes everything synergize extremely well, especially if you want to opt for the Threadling Grenade and opt for a Threadling specific build. Like, every single Threadling now applies that debuff and pretty much allows you to create a tangle on site. So again, creating a tangle, you have to defeat a target that's affected by a strand debuff. If all your Threadlings have the Unravel debuff, you're going to be creating tangles like crazy. Even though there is a cooldown, you don't have to actively worry about it as long as you have the Threadlings out. So this build is really good for crowd control, and there's a couple different ways you can actually like use this. Like if you want to use Woven Mail as well, you get the extra damage resistance. Like there's plenty of options with this exotic specifically, but it just gives that added benefit to the base Strand subclass that just makes it even better. Next, let's talk about PvP. In my opinion, with this exotic compared to other PvP exotics, it does not perform as well. Like, yes, having those debuffs is good, and, you know, destroying a tangle can spawn a Threadling, but in my opinion, you are just better off opting for something like Transversus Steps, Affinity Aspect, and rocking, you know, stuff in the Strand subclass that actually help out those Threadlings. Some things like Thread of Evolution. Threadlings travel farther and deal additional damage. Again, you don't need a Swarmers for the Threadlings here to do that additional damage or anything like that. I mean, even the aspect itself, Weaver's Call. Cast your Rift to weave 3 Threadlings and deploy any Threadlings you have perched. If you already have max recovery, recovery is tied to your healing or empowering rift on the Warlock. Again, you could just continually spawn those Threadlings. So again, there are other options here when it comes to exotics in PvP, and I wouldn't recommend this one. But like I mentioned, when it comes to PvE content, definitely use this exotic. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is my thoughts on the new Warlock exotic, the Swarmers. Let me know what you guys think as well. Do you like this exotic? Do you think it could be improved? Do you think, you know, maybe it's just a little too powerful? Again, let me know. I'm definitely willing to hear you out. Like I mentioned, I already have 2 builds here on the channel. It's all combined into one video, so if you want to focus on your army of Threadlings or take advantage of using the grapple melee with woven mail, again, I already have that video here on the channel. So again, I'll put that in the description like I mentioned. So if you want to check that out, it's already available. If you like what you saw, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then turn the bell next to notifications so you don't miss out on another build video here on the channel. If you didn't know, we actually stream here on YouTube 3 days a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Friday evenings. Again, with Lightfall out, we're mainly going to be playing Destiny 2. We're going to be helping people through the raid once World's First is over. And again, we'll be helping people with Pinnacle Dungeons, exotic missions, a bunch of other stuff, PvP. Hopefully, if they fix what's going on in the game. But again, we are playing with the community, so if you do want to hop in, just hop in during the live stream, say, hey Dave, can I play? I'll say absolutely, and then I'll ask you to join my Discord. Again, if you want to be proactive, join that. Again, that link will be in the description. We are mostly talking about Destiny 2 and other games, but we also have PC tech, anime, and more. Lastly, if you didn't know, we actually YouTube partner here on the channel, which is just freaking awesome. It's given us a lot of exclusive benefits here. One of those things being memberships. If you don't know what a membership is, it is essentially like a Twitch subscription. Again, you're going to get access to the exclusive emotes, the monthly badges, and other cool things here on the channel. So if you would like more information, all you have to do is press the join button, next subscribe, then I'll give you a rundown with all the details you need. In any event, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the video. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!